Are you being crazy? You being crazy, dog?
I remember the doctor telling me I was going to be disabled the rest of my life and I would never work again and I probably wouldn't be successful in my relationships. And I just thought, wow, you just kind of, amputated my dreams here. Fortunately, I also had people who said, don't believe that, people get better. And a lot of those were people who were peers, who kind of like helped me along and provided me with a lot of support and told me their own stories, and and I began to have some hope. I was an irritable kid. Things irritated me a lot when I was a kid, so I didn't really seek any kind of professional help for psychiatric disability until I was in my early 30s. It was like chronic stress, chronic irritation, and it was exhausting. I would be so agitated about something that didn't go the way I thought it should.
I've been doing patients' rights advocacy for 17 years now. Agitation is a state where somebody is feeling extreme frustration and extreme discomfort and is trying to find a way to get themselves understood or get their need met and feels that that's not happening and that they need to express themselves in this extreme manner in order to be heard or in order to get what they need. With Xyla, I think the doctors probably should have noted that there was bipolar disorder earlier on. As a child, she had a very hard time calming herself down. Her nervous system was on all the time. It feels horrible. It feels as if everything is irritating every nerve in her body. For me as a parent, it is very distressing. What tools can I give her that she'll be able to carry with her her whole life?
We think of it along the lines of the worst headache that you ever had and how difficult and painful that was and how you really wanted it to be taken care of and be cured as quickly as possible. When we're talking about mood disorders and agitation, the ones that we tend to see the most with agitation would be bipolar and acute mania, or sometimes in a mixed bipolar situation where it's kind of a mix of mania and depressive symptoms. Schizophrenia, especially if somebody's having what we call an acute exacerbation. When somebody has an acute intoxication state, anything that's kind of giving people a little bit more energy than they would like at the time can put them at risk for agitation. Probably the most important thing that we think should be involved in the process of working with somebody with agitation is helping people to calm down and regain control on their own with a little bit of help from us.
It's more important to listen than to talk. They say you have two ears and one mouth, so you should listen twice as much as you talk. I think that probably goes double if you're trying to work with someone and be empathetic and learn from someone about what's going on, what's happening right now. Not what's wrong with you. You're broken and we're here to fix you, but just what's going on. Peers are really good at this because they've been there and done that. To just listen. Really, listening is so powerful.
When you feel not understood and not listened to, you escalate. It takes a while sometimes to figure out what the need is, because when somebody's in an agitated state, they sometimes don't express themselves in the most logical way. What I'll say is, I want to hear what it is that's going on with you, and I'm having trouble hearing you when you're this worked up and you're this loud. Can you talk to me in a more normal tone of voice, and then I'll really listen to what it is you need so that I can try to help you with what it is you need.
If you help meet that need, even part way, I think it makes people feel listened to. It makes people feel like that they're able to have some control over their life in an area where maybe they weren't feeling they had any control at all.
When we think about losing control, one of the ways you regain control is if you feel you have your own ability to make decisions. And so offering people choices gives them the chance to choose and gives them a little bit more of a say in what's going on around them. And that in and of itself can help people to relax.
That's your mama? Oh, that's your mama, huh? My wife understands what I live with. She just, loved me and accepted me and, and let me love her too. Great example of all the things I mentioned that are helpful, not being judged, knowing what my preferences are. You know, what de-escalation looks like in a marriage is very different than what de-escalation looks like in an inpatient unit.
You're averaging now 1 out of 1,000 patients being put into restraints. The nursing staff have gotten so good at de-escalation and calming techniques. A good de-escalation involves empathetic listening, intervening in a calm way, some simple ideas like make sure people feel they have enough space around them, that they're safe. There's de-escalation, there is medication. There's also some things that can just be very helpful for people, such as maybe they want to go to a room and lie down, maybe with the lights dimmed a bit. Sometimes people want to listen to music, maybe just getting away from a stressful situation.
This was my first painting. This was the first one I did when I was in the hospital. And I just felt like in a really cold, dark space. You know, it was physically a cold place to be in a cold setting. This was the last painting that I did when I was inpatient before I got discharged. I was trying to capture that I wasn't defined by my illness, and I think that's why I had more, you know, light colored in the background and didn't feel so compelled to paint the whole world black. These are some acrylic pieces here on the wall. Painting really helps me a lot. You know, I go in cycles. I kind of get gloomy, and that's kind of one of the times where I'll say I need to paint. And I like the whole idea of being able to go and buy canvas, and it's very process. Here it's got a lot of texture, and the semicircles up there. The way I like to paint, I have to be very patient about it, and I am. There's a sequence that you have to go through, so it's not necessarily predictable, but you can't get ahead of yourself. And that's not how I've lived my life at all in some ways. You know, I've gotten ahead of myself, but like when I paint, I'm like totally focused and in the moment. I don't notice time going by. So I could be painting for 6 hours, and I just felt like I just sat down.
Me and my mom are very spiritual people. I've always called her Mother Nature. Going to the marina, doing photography, being in nature, I can't help but smile. Hearing the wind, looking at her, being happy, spending time outside, you know, like any sun exposure, also specifically. We do just get happy being outside.
Mindfulness absolutely is the key to being able to live with a condition that causes agitation. And there are a lot of services offered to people to teach mindfulness. And what they teach in mindfulness is to try to pay attention to how you're feeling, to be able to catch it before it gets to that place.
There you go. People get better. Hey, being a ham. What it means for me to be well is different from what another person might mean to be well. Someone may not want to paint at all. It might be the worst thing that's ever happened. They might have had some traumatic experience, you know, and ripped up a painting or had somebody rip up their painting. And so, you know, painting is not where they want to go, or had a bad experience with a dog or whatever. But I think that everybody has the potential to live the life that they want to live, and it takes work, but it also takes a lot of support. You really can't do it on your own. People get better.